Okay, well, it is time for me to make a video that has been in the works for a while, involving this guy, Vosteed Mini Nightshade. I did a very positive review of this knife, and most of what it's looking a little dirty, ain't it? Well, anyways, most of what I said about it, I am still standing behind. It's a great knife. Um, I mean, one of the best designed knives I've ever had. Very few drawbacks to it. I love the sound that it makes. Sometimes you get this little metal tink. Yeah, like that right there. And a lot of other knives, excuse me, I just burped into the mic. A lot of other knives just kind of have like a clink, you know? Like, yeah, just like a click, right? Whereas sometimes if you open it in just the right way, you get that little metal tink, and I like that. So, there's an issue, and the issue is right there. You can see the Omega spring. It's not supposed to point that direction. It's supposed to be pointing straight down. That's because an Omega spring broke in there, and I'm going to fix that. Now, I did order, or under warranty, I did request some replacement springs from Vosteed, and boy, they took a while to arrive, like to the point where, I mean, I've had like 3 or 4 emails back and forth. Hey, I asked for the warranty. Oh, it's still on the way. And it really kind of sucked. I mean, it took like a month and a half from when I got in the final request for Vosteed. Is this the Weehaw one? Yeah, I think this is. Uh, when I finally got the request from, put in my final request with Vosteed before they sent me the replacement. And I think if you're a knife company and you're sending parts from China, that's fine. No problem with that. But guys, you can't just send a cheap snail mail. And not all companies with warranties on them do that. I got my Kershaw, had the same problem. So this is not just, Vosteed because it's, Vosteed, they had a broken Omega spring. No, I fiddle with these knives constantly because they are wonderfully fun fidget knives. But I broke an Omega spring in this knife just using the living piss out of it. And what was I saying? So it's not just. I think I'm going to go on this a little bit more in a second, but uh, Omega spring access lock knives. That's an Achilles heel, and it makes it to the point where I'm cool with this for an EDC because I don't think both of the springs will break at the same time. And this knife, even though it's missing one of its Omega springs, it's still locking. It's still doing a good job. But, you lose that other spring and then the knife is non-functional. So that really relegates this to only an EDC. I would never want this for like a camping knife or something like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the triad, right? If you want, Glock-like reliability, yeah, you're going with the triad right here. This is the lock to trust. This is the lock to enjoy and trust if you can maintenance it, if you're not if you're not out camping, if you're not out trusting it. But anyways, Let's see if I can get this apart. So I had two issues with the Nightshade here, and one was the screws stripped. And I actually emailed Vosteed earlier about the screws, and I just never got back to him because I was going to switch the pocket clip side and just kind of carry it separately because I carry this as a secondary. So I was going to push this forward into my pocket and just kind of rotate it. I just never got around to doing that because the screw was stripped, and I just decided, screw it. So now I really have to try to get that screw out without stripping it further. Otherwise, I might have to get in there with the drill and just drill it out, which I really don't want to do. So if I really push down into this thing hard, I'm hoping I should be able to get the screw out. So there's one. I think it's the second one that is stripped though, so we shall see. Shan't we? Shan't we see? So there's one. And here comes two. Okay, and there it comes. So I got those out. That's the only thing that I was worried about whether or not I would be able to succeed in. It does look like they keep a little bit of Loctite in those clips, so that's a good thing. But anyways, how's everyone's day going? This is just going to be kind of a slow takedown, and you know, I just kind of want to show how. So unless I had this, I was just trying to do it by hand, without like a surface here, and it just didn't work out. So these screws, those are going to go bye-bye. I'm not going to keep those. Cool thing though is that when I did request from Vosteed that they send me a replacement, I didn't ask for an extra pocket clip. I guess they just sent that anyways. But I did ask for a full set of extra screws. They sent that. I did ask for a full set of extra Omega springs, and the other set, it's with my spare parts now, but they did send two sets of Omega springs, which, you know, I don't know if I just requested something that they do anyway, or if they just did that because I requested it, but I do appreciate that, so thank you, Weehaw. Kershaw also did that. I requested a full set of extra Omega springs, saying that I was probably going to break it again, and I guess they're trusting me to fix my own knife, which is cool. Yeah, that's good. All right, so let's get into taking this apart the rest of the way. You know what? I think so. It just kind of seemed to me like these screws were a little bit on the softer side, like the pocket clip screw. Just seemed like I stripped that way easier than I've ever had that issue come up with another screw before. So I really think I'm going to have to be super careful with these screws, and I think I'm actually twisting that one. So I'm going to have to pull out another T6. And a lot of guys go off on how much they dislike T6s, and how they wish that the companies would use bigger Torx screws, use T8s. I'd be happy if they just bump it up to T7. That would be great, wouldn't it? But so far, they're just really committed to the T6s, which is really kind of lame, I gotta say. I think they're not, you know, listening to the feedback. Now, this is a little different in concept. This has the center screw like the Benchmades have, and I haven't really dealt with that yet, so Let's see here. Oh, I had, yeah, I do. Pretty sure this is rotating in place, so I have to use a second. That's gonna really suck. Because I did feel it start to turn, start to strip, I mean. So there we go. Yeah. But yeah, so warranty department at Vosteed, guys, like, I appreciate that you guys sent it out. I don't feel like it was super cool that it had to come complete snail mail. I feel like, you know, I get it. Like, you're trying to save money wherever you can. You don't want to overspend. But, you know, I wasn't able to use this knife for like a month. You know, I didn't want to trust it to not have the other spring. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, I think there's inserts or something, because these guys just don't want to screw out. But, you know, I just think Vosteed, like, you know, you probably have some sort of stateside office, right? Or something like that. You know, or you have a distributor, or you have a retailer. You know, why not work out a deal where you keep parts for your individual knives, especially like Omega springs that, you know, I think Benchmade with their newest flat Omega spring has proven that, you know, there is a flaw to Omega springs. Why not, you know, keep, you know, just some of the basic parts that you know are going to break on people stateside, so that you can ship it to us and that we can get our knives back in working order in a reasonable time. I don't think a month and a half from when I requested a new replacement Omega spring is reasonable, I think. The few people who, that's a T10, I don't need that, who watch my video will probably back me up and agree with me. No, that no, a month of wait time is not reasonable. For, nope, T9, T7. How do I have two T8s in here? Really? T10s in here. It's a T10. I don't ever need a T10. That's a T10. So this is T what? Really, I should just keep T8s, and so that's a T6. This is a T7. I'm pretty sure I just read that T7 on here. Yeah, so you know what? I'm just going to put those off to the side. T9. Yeah, what am I going to do with that? All right, I've got it. Okay, I am back. Yeah, I said I would be back, and now I am back. Sorry for that. I just had to. I've decided that I'm going to use my little Benchmade field kit just to stock up completely with T8s and T6s, rather than having a bunch of torque sizes that I'm not ever going to use. I'm going to put that aside for now. That's a dinked up T6, but you never know. You might need it for something, or I might need it for something. Wish I could just order T8s and T6s in bulk. And I do, once again, I wish that, you know, plenty of evidence that T6s are not the best. So I just wish that Steed and all the knife companies would go, yeah, no, TH just don't work. They're done. They're done. They could have just acknowledged that T8's not the best. They should, anyways, because I said so, and everything I say is what they should do. Which one was I using? I think it was this one. So yeah, this is going to be a long video. Yes, I'll just talk in general about knives. You know, the thing I do like, and I guess I should have maybe you know, with the mini sheepdog here, it's got a great action, and I would say it's more reliable than the access locks as a button lock. But is it more durable? Will it take more of a beating? Will it take more of a, you know, a spine whack? I want to say no. No. The access lock is, you know, just short of tri-edge strength. And I think that's been proven out in a lot of different situations, that it's a very strong locking mechanism. But it's just, you know, it's not as reliable. It's just not, you know, you can't trust it to be quite as strong. And well, not strong, it's strong, but it's just, you know, the whole concept of using these little shaped springs, that's some thin steel, and when you get thin metal like that, you're going to get a weak point, especially, you know, right here where there's a kink in it. So yeah, I mean, maybe if I'm just going to, you know, do some speculation, I would say that maybe Benchmade, that's why they weren't so worried about giving up their patent on the, is that just spinning in place? Yeah, I think so. On the access lock design, was because they just realized, you know, this thing has an Achilles heel, and maybe they had their big solution with that new Omega spring in the works, and they just decided, well, let's just do that. And you know what? I was going to take this completely apart, and now I'm not. What I'm going to do, I thought I've seen other mini nightshades. I thought they had a tuning spaces so that you could decide exactly how strong you want your Omega spring to be. I was half thinking about strengthening the Omega spring because the closed detent is a little disappointing. But since I can just replace the Omega here, I think I'm just going to do that. And I'm not going to bother with although while I have it open, maybe I should fix, you know, switch out the Omega on the other spring on the other side too. So, and if it seems like I'm kind of awkward with this this system, I am. I've only taken apart the Vosteed Kershaw Covalent here and done Omegas over here, although I've completely taken that one apart a couple of times. This one is slightly different, but still slightly different, but the same, I guess you could say. And yeah, so that's why earlier the screws were spinning, is because that they use a insert there, which makes total sense. So I'm just going to put this all back together, and then I'm going to switch sides. I'm going to take off the other side, and I'm going to replace the fresh Omega spring, this one, with the one that's in there, because if this one just went, so this is where the old one snapped off. So now I'm just going in here with the new one. Uh, this is a super unscripted video. I really didn't have any idea of what I was going to say, other than that while I was fixing my knife, I was just going to kind of talk and rant and, just say my piece about how not stoked I am that this is what I had to do. Because I'm really not. I'm not thrilled that, I think Vastid really kind of dropped the ball in the amount of time that it took for me to receive the spring. I think that was not the coolest that could have happened. And then, it's really kind of put me off on access locks a little bit in general between the Vastid and the Kershaw both. I think it really speaks to that, that there is kind of a bit of a fatal flaw to these to the access locks. Okay, so I got, I took the 2 screws out of there, so pretty sure, I hope I didn't get this wrong, because there's, yes, I did. You need to come back out, I'm pretty sure that this is the blade stop screw. It's slightly longer. I think when this comes out, I want to be proved right. This is a slightly longer screw. And if you're noticing that I'm not using Loctite and you go, why isn't he using Loctite? Because I forgot. I don't have any on me. And I don't really find that screws come loose like that too much for me if I give them a good little cinching down, but I may come in off camera at some point and just kind of pull each screw out individually and then lock it back in. We'll see. No promises. Boy, this is, let's see, I think I'm at 8 minutes here. This is going to be a long video, so I think this is going to be a super low views video. That just is what it is. Maybe I'll throw in the other knives in here in the background. I really want to try like the Shark Lock from Cold Steel. That looks like it's kind of like got, some of the triad angles that go on, and let people, kind of get the strength of a triad lock while still getting the speed and usefulness that you get with an access, the fidgetiness of an access lock. So I would totally be open to trying a Shark Lock. That's probably on the agenda at some point. I also want to get a compression lock from Spyderco. Specifically, I'm hoping to get a Spyderco Caribbean sometime. If you've watched my channel at all, you know that I'm a surfer and that I like water knives. So, to get the, I look at the Spyderco Caribbean as like an ultimate water knife, and I'd really like to get one of those at some point. I'm not one who's super into getting like whatever the newest, latest knife concept is out and available. Like the Spyderco Caribbean's pretty dated, I know I could probably be pumping up some views if I, if I was just getting the newest knife that was out on the market. But I want to get knives that are useful to me. So here's the old spring. It doesn't look like it has any problems with it. Let's see if I just do that. Does it feel like it's a little looser maybe? Yeah, maybe. And let's see, is it? Looks like the gauges are I almost think that the replacement they sent me has a slightly thicker gauge. That would be really fantastic. I'm not banking on that though. I don't know if that's actually a thing or if I'm just, being hopeful. But since I have the knife apart, I mean, I really, really might as well put in 2 fresh springs, since, the other spring has taken all the wear and tear that the broken spring took. So there we go. Let's get you in there. And then we'll figure out the lining up here when I put the other scale back on, hopefully. Maybe if I open the knife up, that'll let me line it up better. Oh boy. I wonder if I could put the pivot in from the opposite side. Let's see here. How? Maybe I could. So the pivot screw right here is what the blade pivots on, and then here's the lockdown screw. The one thing that I might have gotten unlucky on is I might need to take this apart more to get the pivot screw back in here. I'm just going to see if I can put it in from the opposite side somehow. Maybe that'll make it easier for me to reassemble the knife. Because there's, in addition, there's also the bearings that have to go in here, which is, I'm not so stoked on ball bearings. I think it's easy to get them dirty. It's easier to, boy, I don't know if that's going to work. It's probably not going to work. I think I'm just going to have to finagle it from the other side. Yeah. So let's set you on very gently. And line up as best as I possibly can. Let's see if I can get through. Okay, so there. Okay. So the pivot. Okay. Yeah, I gotta go from square one, sadly. Oh, shoot. I was really hoping that I could do this super easy style. I think I have to assemble it from this side, and then I have to take everything apart. Oh, yay! That was exactly what I was hoping I wouldn't have to do, but oh well. Super long video. Oh my god, this thing's going to be an hour long. I got nothing else to talk about. Maybe, let's see. So what are some other knives I'm interested in getting? I'd love to get the Spyderco Caribbean. I haven't really stayed on top of like the freshest, newest knives. Like I was saying, I'm kind of more interested in things that suit me as opposed to what's the newest, coolest knife that's out there. Uh, Although there have been some really good looking knives on the market lately, so I mean, maybe I could get tempted, but maybe not too. Okay, I think I can leave that in place. I do need to take you out. And boy, taking these things completely apart really blows, to be honest, because I did open myself up to a much bigger can of worms by deciding to replace the opposite side Omega spring. I should have just stuck with the new one, but it is what it is. You live and you learn. Yeah. Let's go with some platitudes like that. Okay, so I need to put so here are the bearings. Do these need cleaning on here? I mean, not really. They're actually doing pretty nicely. Question is, can I get the blit? Oh, it's gotta come completely apart. Yeah, it's gotta reassemble completely. Oh, there we go. So this is the inside. I guess I'll grab a one guy I like to watch is Shabazz, because he does, full reassembly and takedown videos. And he says he has a hard time with Omegas, and that they're not his favorite to assemble and disassemble, reassemble. I'm right there with him, man. These are quite a pain in the rear end to work with, and I haven't done this exact, like kind of the exact form Benchmade before, so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, so I need to start on this side, I'm pretty sure. The pivot went in from this side. Yeah. And then I need a shorter screw to put that in place. Now I've got to grab the pivot, put that in there with a bearing in there, and I am going to give the bearing just a little bit of blue lube, or blue lube is what this Benchmade brand, I think it is. Yeah. Oh yeah, it doesn't like fitting through there. Maybe I need to loosen this a little bit. And then I'll go. Yep. That was my problem. Okay, so let's get you all popped back into place, shall we? Up, there we go. That's getting close. And then where are all the other parts So, yeah. I think I need to put, can I get you to pop out, please? Well, can I? Maybe. We'll see. We shall see. Okay, so there's one. We drop of lube. This is what it looks like for someone who's not super up to standards on putting these knives, taking these knives apart and putting them back together. It's not easy. I mean, it really isn't. These are, you know what I wonder about is how the factory gets these. I guess they just do it so much that they get them together and it's not a thing. But like, boy, how many of these things do you have to assemble? Because this is not a robot, right? That's assembling these. I would be, you know, I'm just going to give up and say that the robots have taken over and humanity is done for if a robot is assembling these and putting them together. I think it's probably, this is probably hand assembled and it's done by someone with maybe a couple more tools than I have, who's more familiar with putting them together. And then they just do it so many times, repetition, that it's just, you know, comes as second nature, would be my guess. But it's just a guess. This is, yeah, okay. So that's, I think I've got the hard part done now. The rest of this should go back together pretty quickly. That's something you got to be careful about saying out loud, though, because, you know, as soon as you say something like that, then like the whole thing falls apart. So maybe if I had whispered it, I think I have the hard part done now. I'm almost there. Yeah, that then the knife gods won't hear you saying it, and then you won't be in big trouble with them for saying that you've got it figured out now. Yeah, okay. Ooh, okay. I feel like I'm really getting there now. Feel like this is getting pretty darn close. Oh, that I don't quite have the pivot in place. Looks like. Yeah, that's, I don't know if you can see my little magnifier. Let's see. Will it work? Yeah, so the pivot there isn't quite in place. It's just sitting. So I gotta get that to kind of shimmy into position, I think, before going much further. Yeah, oh yeah, and you can see it's, the pivot is way far out there, so let's see if, maybe it just a couple Ooh, I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. Yeah, I guess when I get really quiet, I am actually concentrating on what I'm doing here, because this is, getting, boy. Yeah, well, like I was saying, I wonder how much fun assemblers have with this in putting these guys together, because this is a real difficult thing to work with for me right now. And boy, that hang up right there, if I could just get the pivot, I guess it's a pivot nut, not a pivot screw, because it's the female threading. Maybe I need to pull it back a little bit. Some enchanted evening. Has anyone ever seen American Graffiti? I don't think that's the words that Harrison Ford sings to Ron Howard's girlfriend in that movie, but it's something like that, where he just tries to like sing romantic to her sounding, and she's like not having none of it. Great movie, by the way. Come on, baby. Let's get you on there. That didn't work. Boy, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I think that. Okay, well, you know what? This video has gone way too long. I'm just going to pause for now, and then when I get this all to fit back in place, I think I'll start it back up again. Okay, so as soon as I turned it off, I got it to pop back into place, and I just had to kind of back it off a little bit, and then I pushed it down on the board here, and yeah, now after that, I think I will risk saying that this is going to go back together now fairly easily. Boy, I've been missing this knife though. I guess one thing is one reason that I've been so upset on having to wait for the Omega spring. This one came quickly, this Omega spring access lock. I don't remember the names that each company is calling these different locks now. This is an access lock. That's an access lock. Benchmade is the OG access lock. But, yeah, so what was I saying? Probably not important. But, yeah, it's, you know, this is such a favorite knife, and I've missed it so much. I think that is one thing that, like, I've really actually noticed how long it took Vosteed's, you know, warranty, you know, snail mail from China to get to me, is that I've just been waiting for it. I haven't really wanted to carry it with the broken Omega spring inside, so it's just kind of, you know, like the mini sheepdog here has been getting a lot more carriage, which this is a really fun fidget knife, but as I say in my review, one of my criticisms is I'm not in love with, you know, blunt tips on knives, and I think I like this tip on this knife a little bit more. It's a little bit more acute. Seems like it can do a little bit more of what I will ask of it. Boy, those springs, though, those Omega springs, seem a lot stronger. I think they sent me a little bit stouter springs. They're like, oh, this guy's gonna break our knife again. Let's send him some stronger springs, which I am down for. Down. Yeah, send me the stronger springs, please. Put them in your knife to begin with. nothing else. I feel like the detent might be a little bit more stout too, which would be fantastic. So I'm just going to cinch this down and then back it off half a turn. Like not even half a turn, just like that. Let's see how that, too tight. Yeah, that's about right. Another nice thing is that on the Kershaw Iridian, which my dad has, the blade came out so far that when I was doing the access close, I could actually kind of nick my hand a little bit. And that would be kind of a threat with, you can see how close the edge comes to the kind of the meat of my palm there. But just kind of the shape of this handle really gets your hand away from the tip of the blade when it's closing, so that that's not a problem. There's just so much that's good about the design of this knife that I can just, you know, praise to no end. I just think they did such a good job making this knife and designing it that I really have no problems with it anywhere. It's just very well executed design. I think these two screws are smaller, so I think those are the pivots, and I think these guys are slightly longer. I mean, not the pivots, but the blade stops. And it looks like centering's just going to naturally center because of how stout ball bearing pivots, ball bearing bushings are. When you have kind of a softer bushing, sometimes you have to do a little bit to manipulate the blade from one side to the other while you assemble the knife, but this looks like it's just going to reassemble with a really good centering right out the gate. So would I change? I gave this knife like a 9.5 out of 10. And after kind of experiencing the broken Omega spring, does that change my rating of this knife? And I think it has to a little bit, if I'm being judicious, would that be the word? Or, you know, just kind of impartial, unbiased. I think the design is, you know, a home run, like almost as perfect a design, because there's many perfect designs, and I think this is a perfect design. And I thought the execution was a little bit better than it was, so I'm going to say this is like an 8.75 out of 10. I wish they were making these with you know, maybe T7s, just something a little bit bigger than a T8. And I wish that they had stronger screws in here, better steel, harder to strip. So there's, you know, so that's how much I'm willing to back off my rating of this knife, like 8.75. I think it's still a fantastic knife. And here's the thing, is that it's not just a unique to Benchmade problem that I'm dealing with. I mean, it's not just a unique to Vosteep problem that I'm dealing with here. This is a lot of knife companies do the T6s, and the T6 screws, even if these ones are just a little bit on the softer side, all T6 screws are on the softer side just because they don't have the mass that they really should have to keep them from stripping. So you're constantly, I mean, look at all my T6s here. You see how twisted and mangled they are? That's just the nature of the beast with T6 screws, unfortunately. They just don't, you know, they'll screw up the T6 what do you call this, driver, whatever, whether it's a detachable driver, or they'll screw this up, they'll strip the screws. So you really kind of have to be, you know, on top of your game when you're dealing with T6s. And just, I don't feel like they're necessary to, that you need that smaller size in there. And this is, you know, this is something that all of the big reviewers, you know, I'm just a teeny tiny hobby guy, but all of the big knife reviewers hit, you know, their favorite knife companies on why the T6s. And yeah, I'm doing it too. I'm saying, yo, Vosteed, what are you thinking? What is with going with everybody else and putting the T6s in these knives when you just know that they're going to get stripped out, and you know that the guys like me, the hobby guys, we're going to be asking for more screws, and you're going to have to send them to us. And then if if there's a guy like me who's got a YouTube channel, I'm going to be critical of it. Just maybe bump it up to T7s. Try that. You know, like, I get that sometimes a T6 doesn't fit quite as well, or it doesn't quite have as nice an aesthetic, but yeah, it's not the best. It really isn't. Boy, once I got that one little, the pivot nut in place, this all went back together really nice. And this is where I have to be careful. I have stripped right here before. And there we go. There is my Vosteed Mini Nightshade back in commission. And that is a better closing detent. I think these springs, either they haven't worn in yet, or they are a little bit more stout. I do think, you know, this is partial speculation, but I do think this is a little tighter. I think they did send me slightly tighter, slightly beefier Omega springs, which, you know, that would be great if they had just bumped up their Omega springs for, yeah. Oh yeah, this knife is about to get carried a lot again. Now, here's an interesting thing. Last thing I'll say about access locks is closing detent on access locks is not brilliant, to say the least. And you'll notice that I've been kind of bouncing mine out. That's because on this Kershaw Covalent, because it's a flipper, this flipper tab actually sucks the blade in, and you can see the blade won't retreat any further than that until I let go of the access lock, and it pushes the blade out. So they could do something even without a flipper tab where they hook around the access lock to make that closed detent better. But it, you know, kind of nature of the beast, nothing's perfect, and this is still a great, wonderful knife. I'm so happy to have it back in working order, and you, my friend, are about to get carried quite a bit more. All right, that's the end of a very long video. I don't think anybody is going to watch all the way through. Maybe you'll skip through to the end and just kind of see what happened. So, yeah, have a great day. If you're like the one person who watched this video all the way through, thank you. Really appreciate it. I still endorse this knife. I'm not thrilled with how long it took the replacement parts to get to us, to get to me. Anyways, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.